introduce the next session to you. This is entitled The Power of Local Experiences, Enhancing Travel Sellers' Brands, Differentiation and Traveler Engagement. It's a rather long title. I look forward to the guys and gal getting into that one. I'm sure it will be a very good one. We have had several conversations around this particular topics, and I am delighted because I've invited my good friend, Kate Harden England, who is editor of Travolution, to moderate this one, so it won't all be me doing the Q&As. And Kate, please, if you come to the stage, and then she's going to set the scene for this next half an hour, and then she will introduce her wonderful panelists, Nicholas and Sergio from Amadeus and Joyned. I see the room is filling up, so I'm sure we've chosen well to get these three people on stage this year. Towards the end, we will take some questions, I think, on Slido. Is that correct? Yeah? And or if we have time, Kate is saying, but we'll try and get some time. And if not, we will also come around with the mic. So Kate, let's give her a hand and let's get these guys going. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Welcome, everyone. It's certainly filled up, so thank you for being here. What a great stage to actually get to share with so many greats. So we know and love so many that have already spoken earlier today. We've had Trip.com and Nazasa and the Trip Boutique AI, and we've got Nishank from To Amusement coming up, as well as Viator. But please allow me to welcome two more greats to the stage. So we've got Sergio Vargas Johansson, Managing Director of Travel at Joyned. And then we've got Nicholas Martiquet, who is the Director of Amadeus Discover. So I'm going to do it slightly differently, and I'm going to get these wonderful folk to introduce themselves and their companies first, and then I'll do a very brief scene setting. So yeah, a bit different to what Charlotte said, but we'll roll with it. Sergio.
Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a great ITV today. So I am the Managing Director for Travel at Joyned. What is Joyned? Maybe most of you don't know. We are a company dedicated to social revenue. And also, the question is, what is social revenue? Because this is actually a theme that we are claiming or bringing to the market. We are fostering and helping collaboration in the travel websites so that the users and the shoppers don't have to leave the website to complete a shop. And I will talk more about that later.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And Nicholas.
Hello, so I'm Nicolas Martiquet. I'm Director of Amadeus Discover. So I will make the assumption that people know Amadeus. And in Amadeus, Amadeus Discover is the new platform for local experiences. So by local experiences, I mean tours, activities, museums, restaurants, events. And we aggregate that content and we make it available for travel sellers so that they can better inspire, better engage their travelers, and also obviously have more content to sell and so make more money.
So, as you can see, these are definitely the right folks to join us for this discussion. But to provide you with some context, as Charlotte alluded to, I am Kate Harden England, the editor of Travolution, which is Europe's leading B2B travel tech and digital travel publication. Every year, we publish an innovation report which looks at tech spend in the UK across the travel industry, and we use data from the Office for National Statistics to do so. We found that in 2023, it was predicted that tech spend in travel would actually surpass £2.3 billion in the UK alone. And now, through the lens of the tour operators, in 2022, that was actually 184 million, which is then predicted to have surpassed more than 200 million by the end of last year. So traditionally, we also see that that spend is mostly spent on software, and that's closely followed by computer services. So with that sort of backdrop of the UK market, we're going to sort of use that to unpack the rest of the discussion. Now, we've seen that actually, there are a few players that are struggling to engage when it comes to local experiences with the travelers. What do you think that might be? Is it the technological landscape development that we've seen post-pandemic, or is it that we as users are changing our behaviors? We're engaging differently, or is it both? What are the challenges for local experiences and encouraging and enticing people, Nicholas?
So first of all, it's a highly fragmented market, extremely heterogeneous. It's not the same to book a museum or to book a restaurant or to book an event. It's totally different and very fragmented. So that has been a challenge. Well, the situation of the market is evolving, and this is getting less and less complex. It is still complex, but it's less and less. Then, once you have aggregated all the content, the next question for a travel seller is, how do I make sure that out of all this content, I get the right content for the right traveler based on their context? And I'm sure we are going to discuss that in the next half an hour. But the technology today is now available to make that challenge possible, which was not the case a few years ago. So that's been the two main challenges about fragmentation and recommendation that now the market landscape and technological landscape help to solve this challenge.
Yeah.
Maybe if I would add, I also see that the technology is actually not meeting all the customer needs today. I know that this could be a little bit controversial why I say this, but well, think about this. In the last few years after the pandemic, the digital transformation really advanced. Okay, so the companies were really forced to update their systems, but the end users very quickly adopted this technology. Now we all expect everything to be done online. I mean, when I came here to Berlin, I came here over the weekend. So I wanted to plan the activities that I wanted to do before and try to do everything online. But then I realized that it was not possible to do the whole thing in a very easy way. And one thing that I was missing is the ability to really get advice and recommendations from the people I care about, which are my friends, which are my family, my partner, or whatever. Today, you can do that in the offline world when you're shopping, right? Because if you're with someone, you can get recommendations very quickly. On the online world, you have to go to other media, to social media, to WhatsApp, to email, TikTok, whatever, and start a conversation. And when you do that, you are losing the customer because there's a risk that the customer will not come back to that. And that is something that at Joyned we're trying to fix. So for me, that's one thing that I see that it's preventing this adoption. And then the other one would be that probably technology is not really fit for purpose in the sense that today for tours and activities, we still see more or less 50% of the day operators are not online. That is massive. I know that many, they just keep their Excel files. This is crazy. So how can you expect the digital transformation and to have a seamless experience in the digital world if we're still facing this, right? So I believe that there's still a lot of work to be done in that front.
So the kind of lack of technological advancement or kind of welcoming of that advancement to this subsector of travel, which is kind of halting us in our progress when enticing travelers to local experiences. Great, and I think you touched upon, family, friends, affecting us when we do kind of think about booking experiences and things like that. So I know that Amadeus in their travel trends for 2024 kind of released that music tourism is going to be a huge, huge trend, and we call that the Taylor Swift effect, don't we? So we are now seeing that actually travelers are booking their trips around the experience. They're not thinking about a destination. They're not thinking about, this is my maybe my bucket list because I've heard someone talk about it a while ago. It's the fact that I want to go for that particular thing. Maybe it's a tour through the Tuscan Hills, which is what I did for my 30th birthday. I've always wanted to ride a Vespa. And my partner delivered on my 30th birthday. I was in Florence, and we went on a Vespa tour all around the Tuscan Hills to drink wine and experience it, and it was the best local experience that I could have planned my trip for that particular event. So this is great. We're seeing an example of that, aren't we, in trends that now people are looking for local experiences and are engaging. Is this a behavior shift? Are we seeing this really change? Sergio, what are you seeing at Joyned?
Definitely. It is, what you said is correct. And we see this happening all the time. people are organizing the trips around the experience. It is not that in the past that was not the case, of course, but in the past many people would say, okay, I go to the beach or I go to a big city to do shopping, but now it's around the experience. Now, to organize the proper experience, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. You were bringing this example, right, about your 30th birthday in Tuscany. I can imagine that for your partner, it was very difficult to combine all the different elements for that trip to make a really compelling experience. Because it was just not the flight, it was not just the hotel.
Yeah.
To go and do a lot of different things and put them together. So we see that this is a very complex trip experience. And for that, you need to have the technology to be working together seamlessly during the trip planning. I would say the inspiration phase becomes much more important in this respect, because of course you need to be inspired to know what you want to do in that experience. Okay, if it's a Beyoncé concert, a Coldplay concert, okay, what am I going to do? If I need to rent a costume for that event or whatever, all those things need to be part of the experience. For us in Joyned, what we see is, because of course we are a collaboration platform, and we see that people are talking about a lot of different things and points where it's about the easiness to put together the whole travel experience. Now, something that I also wanted to mention with this respect is that we see the influence from social media for this trend. This is massive, right? And social media is having a lot of influence in the way that we organize our trips or why we want to travel for whatever reason. But if you follow an influencer, you can get some tips about the trip. But in the end, for a travel website, we see that they are not really helping to make the decision on the spot. So we believe that we need to facilitate the access to the people that can really influence the user to make that travel decision. And those people are the families and the friends. And this is the gap that we are trying to bridge at Joyned.
And that's how brands kind of differentiate themselves to encourage that local experience engagement.
Absolutely, because imagine if a company allows to do that, then the customers become much more engaged and become much more loyal because they are getting qualified traffic, very good recommendations, and for the travel website, the conversion will increase dramatically.
Loyalty, I mean, that's an interesting concept, and maybe we can unpick that with a Q&A later if anyone wants to ask the question. Yes. But Nicholas, at Amadeus Discover, you know, what kind of things are you seeing shifting actually to kind of see this?
Yeah, so just you were mentioning before this music travel trend.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's true that I mean the data that we have is like when Coldplay goes to Greece, flights to Athens increase by 80%. When Taylor Swift, I think, has increased by more than 400% the flights to Australia. So this has an impact, and this is because local experiences, and not only about music, but local experiences are the reason why people travel. And more people even book their experience before they even book the flight. I'm sure if we ask the audience here, most of the people here have booked their ticket to ITB before the flight to Berlin. So it's not only about leisure, it's also for business events.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is really to help travel sellers consider local experiences not just as an ancillary product, but really as a way to better inspire their travelers, to better engage their travelers, and ultimately to generate more loyalty, more organic loyalty. So this is really what we try to do with Amadeus Discover with our customers, and for that it also means it's not just about bookable content; it's also about non-bookable content, because sometimes you travel for a free festival, you want to go or for a festival that is not bookable. So yes, this is really the vision that we have and that we do with our customers to really help them to use experiences as the why of travel.
And I hope you don't mind, but offline our discussions were really quite interesting on this, and you brought up OTAs and kind of changing their behavior maybe to kind of adapt this new way that we're operating, and that is, the funnel shift actually, not just user, traveler shift in their behavior.
Yeah, we look at every single step of the end-to-end traveler journey, and we try to understand how, for each single step, the local experiences can help. Maybe if I take one example, because we think about inspiration. It's quite easy to see that if you put an experience in an ad, probably people are going to get more inspired and come more to your brand. Let's take a very specific example in the traveler journey, which is the abandoned cart. So some of our customers, well, most of the customers tell us that 70 to 90% of the baskets end up as an abandoned basket in the funnel on an online travel seller. How do you do when you have an abandoned cart on your website? You try to capture the email of the person or to retarget and say, you have an abandoned cart, please come back. And that's pretty much what the industry is doing today.
Yeah.
If you know that the traveler who has this basket is willing to travel as a family to London, for example, and you have the date, and you know that you have the ticket for the Harry Potter studio to sell to this traveler, maybe you can say, not just you have an abandoned cart, but come back and get a 10% discount for the Harry Potter studio. First, get a ticket, because you could never get a ticket, and maybe get a discount. So we have a customer who is starting to use our platform to convert more abandoned baskets. We are going to measure the exact impact, but the goal is really to improve the conversion. So you can see that as a very specific example, that at every stage of the traveler journey, considering the experiences as the why of travel and not just as another ancillary product, is really changing the way people think about that content.
Yeah, that's great. And that's how us as tour and attractions sellers can kind of change our behavior and adapt to how the consumers are then having their behavior changes. Okay, great. I mean, Amadeus also revealed that, AI, more specifically generative AI, is going to be a huge trend to 2024. Would you be able to share some of the initiatives that you yourselves are working on at your organizations that are really enabling, brands to differentiate themselves, to engage really organically with users for tours and attractions as well? Let's come to you, Nicholas.
Yeah, well, we have a great example because we collaborate on that topic with Joyned. So the idea is really that what you want to achieve is hyper-personalization of the experience that you're going to push to the traveler at the right moment and based on their context. So what we do together, and I will let you complete, of course, Sergio, but it's once the customer has a solution to know exactly what is the context of the traveler, what they are looking for, what they want, our job is to make sure that we have the best understanding of the product that we have, to make sure that the travel seller can push that content and the right content to the right traveler. Because, I mean, we have like 700,000 experiences on the platform. At some point, it's almost too much. No? So you just want to pick the best 3 for this specific traveler. So we don't focus on knowing the traveler, but we focus on knowing what we have in the catalog, in the platform. And thanks to that, we provide all the data and all the ability. We have a recommendation engine we use for generative AI and machine learning, obviously, to make sure that we help our customers and our partners to promote the right experience to the right traveler.
I agree. I mean, it's not the only place, that we hear that being said. Right content, right time can be said when it comes to airline retailing as well. We see that with NDC. Sergio, talk to us a bit more about, your work.
Yes, absolutely. At Joyned, what we do is we are consuming the content that is coming from Amadeus Discover, as Nicolas was mentioning, and then based on the user behavior that we see in our platform, because in our platform we can see if the customer is traveling to a given destination. Let's make an example. They are traveling to Italy, to Sardinia, for instance, and then we realize, okay, they have the flights, they have the hotels, so in the Joyned platform, using the content that we're sourcing from Amadeus, we can recommend through our recommendation engine the right content for that people, that we believe it's going to be relevant. And why we believe it's going to be relevant is not only because we know where they are going and when, but also because we can analyze the type of conversations that they are having. So we can understand that if it is a family with kids or if it's a group of friends. So if that is the case, you can tailor and customize the recommendation to that group. And of course, this brings a lot of value to the consumer because it's very relevant for them. And it brings a lot of value to the travel seller as well, because they will be able to sell a lot more. So it's a win-win situation. And we're doing this also using AI. Because, I mean, we are not actually reading the conversations ourselves. These are the artificial intelligence that is picking some words, some price points, sentiment analysis, the words that are being used. If somebody is very passionate and they say, oh, I love this place, you know, you see that there's a passion, a sentiment. Probably these people really want to spend more money there. Mm-hmm. But if it's like, it's okay. So you see, you have to do something more exciting.
Right content, right time again.
Exactly, the right content at the right time. So this definitely needs to be put forward, and yes, this is why we're using also artificial intelligence in this way.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm conscious of time, so I am going to swiftly move on. I mean, I mentioned, you know, airline retailing just now. Are there any other subsectors of travel that you think are really nailing it, that we as a subsector of tours and attractions, we could kind of take a leaf out of their book and, you know, really learn something, because they're just sort of doing it quite well? Let's come to you, Nicholas, first.
Well, as I was saying, so we see more and more customers who really focus on given steps of the traveler journey to better improve how they are going to interact with the traveler. Basically, I mean, an area where we see people doing that super well is the retail travel agencies, like the human travel agent who speaks to you, who understands your context, who knows, who understands where you're coming from and what you're trying to achieve to really pick up the right experiences or the right content or the right hotel or the right whatever to you. So this is basically what we try to replicate, to make sure that technology helps us to provide the best, once again, the best recommendations to the travelers.
And what I would say is that OTAs probably are the ones doing a great job in travel because some of them started in one vertical, but then suddenly started to move and integrate all the different type of content. So the big groups, Expedia Group, Booking Holdings, and Trip.com Group, I think they are doing a fantastic job in that respect. And all of them are really working very well in complementing all the content, all the offered tours and activities, because super important content as part of that offer. But if you look outside travel, we have a lot of examples. Take a look at Amazon. If I go to Amazon, what I see in the front page is not what you see in your front page, Kate. Because they have all the history of my past purchases, my search behavior. So everything is very relevant for me. And everything, when I go there, I'm very smart and it's very easy for me to make a decision. Same happens with Netflix. You know, if you go into your own Netflix, what you see in your recommendations is, again, different, right? Because of the past user behavior. So my question here is, when will we in travel have something like that? When will we go to a travel website and see the content that really resonates to me based on my previous experience, based on my purchasing behavior, on the, I don't know, even the device that I'm using to access that information, because that gives a lot of hints of information. So I believe that there's still a lot of things to do, but this is super exciting, because this is why we are here today, right, to discuss about this. There are a lot of opportunities that we still need to explore and to tap into. And by using technology, we can do a lot of new stuff, new upgrades. I believe that the innovation that we are bringing into the market is going into this direction, is facilitating the interactivity between people, the collaboration, and really mimicking what we do in the offline world.
Yeah. So tech as a facilitator and enabler is a key takeaway, absolutely. Oh, gosh, got 4 minutes. Okay, question for you, Sergio. If we organize all the experiences by ourselves, what is the role of travel agencies? And Nicholas, you can answer this too if you like.
Well, at the end, I think the role of travel agencies is to support and facilitate and enable these kind of interactions, be that through technology, you know, everything seamless, automation, online, or for retail travel agencies is by a very dedicated, high-touch service that you can offer to them. And there are many things in between as well. At Joyned, for instance, with our solution, when we created the platform that allows for interactivity to create groups, to invite friends, families, or whatever, some of our customers started to ask, hey, can I join as a travel seller one of the groups? Because I can imagine that there are some complex itineraries where people may have doubts and maybe nobody in the traveling group have the answer. You know, for instance, if your partner was organizing the trip to Tuscany, maybe you would have liked some expert advice about specific things in Florence. So if you can combine and go into a hybrid model, that would be also very good. And we are exploring that. So the market is very dynamic, it's very organic, and I believe that we need to be very open for this kind of innovation.
Anything, Nicholas, you'd like to add, or shall I go on to the next question?
I think the role of travel agencies is also to make sure that they will have the right content that you are looking for. So if it depends also a lot on what is the kind of traveler target that they have, and make sure that they curate that content, that they have access to that content, and that they filter the right content for their audience, to make sure that once you're organizing your trip, that you will find that content and make it easy for you to find it and book it. So I think that's a big part of their job, on which we are trying to help with that kind of platform.
Absolutely. And quickly, we've got, how do you onboard local experience providers for whom GDS providers are either too complex or too expensive?
Can you repeat?
How do you onboard local experience providers for whom GDS providers are potentially too complex or too expensive for them?
So we basically, I mean, we don't onboard suppliers directly, because it's, as I said, it's extremely fragmented. But so we aggregate aggregators, I would say.
Yep.
So we started with the big B2C marketplaces, but we also have direct connection to the main IT providers, the main channel managers, so that enables us to have direct commercial relationship as well with the biggest suppliers. So we have a network of, I would say, 20 partners today, increasing, and local suppliers can onboard through one of these platforms to be available from all the travel sellers that use Amadeus Discover.
And I would like to add, I mean, the role that you guys are doing is fantastic, because it is very difficult to aggregate content or to be the expert in a specific, in all the world.
Yeah.
You know, you have experts in Asia, as we know, we have Klook there, for instance, super strong, or you have Get Your Guide, or, you know, which are very strong in specific regions. So the role of an aggregator of aggregators actually facilitates this. Because you are putting standards, and we need some standards to make this workable in the technology environment that we all use.
It's not only about geography. Like, for example, we have a customer who tells us that 60% of their travelers are solo travelers. So they would like to have one connection to get access to the best content for solo travelers. Nobody is focusing on solo travelers in the tours and activities industry. So aggregating the different sources and being able to say, okay, I'm going to take 10% here, 15% here, 2% here, and being able to aggregate the right offer for each of the travel agencies is the challenge that we are facing.
Brilliant. I'm going to squeeze one last one in. Can small destinations like Bosnia and Herzegovina take the approach to develop offers around local experiences, like a wild horse safari, and how risky is that? Ooh, a challenging one.
Take it. Well, if I got the question correctly, with local destinations, we have two kinds of relationship. I mean, once they use our platform to promote the local content on their platform, but they also use our platform to upload more content to make sure that their destination is going to be better promoted by all the different travel sellers. So they are a local kind of sales force for us, which helps us to onboard the local players, because it's their job to make sure that local players will benefit from tourism. So they help a lot. They help us a lot to access to the very local suppliers that we don't know about, and they promote them through the platform, so that any travel seller at the other side of the world is able to sell that content to their travelers.
Thank you so much, both of you. I'm going to wrap it up there. To hear about more about both of these players, although it being a slightly different iteration with Amadeus Ventures and Joyned, you can read about both of those in the Travolution Innovation Report, and we do have copies of 2023 just at the back there. So if you are intrigued in the tech spend in the UK market as well from the last 12 months, you can grab a free copy there as well. But please join me in thanking these two brilliant minds for this excellent discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.